Oh, we're live, Charlotte. It is the morning of the first ever historic Longines League of Nations team final in Barcelona. Barcelona, always the kind of the climax of the Nations Cup series, the climax of team jumping outside of the championships every year. So no shock that we got a star-studded lineup. But if you've been in the Echo-Ratings WhatsApp channel, this Swedish team is like the record-breaking Swedish team. It's the highest rated team. They were actually slightly higher rated in Rotterdam when the same four competed together. They were only second that day. They were held by a French team. So we know in this game that even if you've got the All-Stars going in, nothing's guaranteed. Looking forward to it.
Incredibly. And I actually do want to say there's a clip on social media going the rounds, and it's me saying that I have the Germans as the winners for today's Longines League of Nations final. And I watched the Grand Prix on Friday, and I think I've changed my mind because all of those Swedish horses were incredible. I don't think I've seen King Edward that solid and confident and calm in a way in a long while as I saw him on Friday. And they were just, it was poetry in motion. It was beautiful. And then, Rolf Goring Bengtsson and Zucchero finishing on the podium there. It was, the Swedes looked so strong. This might be their weekend,
Like as well, Henrik von Eckermann, Malin Bayer-Johnson, Peter Fredriksson. So they were the trio that won the gold in Tokyo. And then it was Jens Fredriksson that came in for Herning. Rolf was in for the Europeans, but Rolf Johan Benson is arguably the biggest celebrity name of that quartet. But these really are the old stars. I love that the front three have their established stars, and let's be honest about Indiana and Catch Me Not, kind of mature stars. Are they in the peak of their physical? They might be past peak, but there's something great, I think, in any sport when the all-stars come out, and both riders, absolutely, for sure. I do think this is a team. I think this is a quartet. I think if they win here, this is something we'll always look back on our, when we were highlighting the top four teams, like we look back at some pretty cool US teams, some pretty cool German teams. And like they're from 8 years ago, 10 years ago. I think this is a quartet. I think this is a team that if they can put in a big performance here, and like obviously the win is really what they're looking for, I think this is a team we look back on for decades, being like, remember that quartet, remember those horses and those riders. So I'm looking forward to it. The big question is, have you put any of them in your Star Chaser team? And King Edward he's first out for the Swedes. The way our groups work, they're drawn 8th of 9th. So he's actually in group 2 in Star Chaser. We'll bring that on screen. Bring that on screen now if you want, Charlotte. It's going to be my team that we can see. I'm thinking of making a change. So for anyone that's been in here, the first thing I want to do is I actually want to bring up the most popular picks, which you can see here. So King Edward, it's quite hard to see. It's just quite small, but the most popular, 88% of people have been going from, and it's a huge drop down then to Legacy and Checker. Group 4 is interesting. We'll get there because there's a real split there between Legacy and Checker. Are you on one of those? You on Legacy or Checker? I think I'm on Checker.
I have neither of those, actually.
Oh, you've gone really differential, have you?
No, not really. I don't think so. I don't think I've gone. I think I have one controversial pick, but wouldn't surprise for anyone who listened to the previous show. But in Group 1, I picked Spencer Smith and Keeneland.
Okay, yeah, but 4 from 4 in Nations Cups and 5-star Nations Cups. That's exactly. That is interesting. Let's start there. I'm on Michael van der Vleuten, and if I go against the crowd with sorry, my testing here is big. If I go against the crowd with Henrik von Eckermann, I could end up with 3 Dutch riders as my first ones. Why is Spencer Smith and Keenan third out? Interesting. Yeah, I've gone with Beauville. I really like this Dutch team. I think as the entries have come in, it looks to me like I think the big one was in our podcast, in our preview, was would Ireland be on our podiums? And I think we both left them off. We both went for Sweden, Germany, and Netherlands in different orders. I'm still sticking to that. I am interested to see Calais coming in for the Irish team. He's a horse who's been on such a journey because he was this rise to stardom, winning out in Riyadh, GCTs, GCLs, and then kind of a bit wayward and kind of losing form for a period of time. And then just the genius of Mikey Pender bringing him back to form and jumped really well out in Calgary for the
Do
team.
you have a different start list? I have Dennis. Oh, Mikey Pender. Yeah, of course.
Mikey Pender's in number
That
2.
might have changed. Okay, lovely.
Has that? I'll tell you if it's changed or not, because he should be probably in Group 3, I would imagine. Yeah, it was Mark McCauley. That is a late switch.
And I need to change that because I picked Mark McCauley. There we go,
So
guys.
what'll happen there? Yeah, live stuff going on here. What will happen is that will be a direct swap for Mikey Pender. So if you pick Mark McCauley, you'll end up with Mikey Pender. I'll see. Can I do that now as we're going? Would it change? That's interesting. Mark McCauley was in your team. What are you going to do? Are you going to leave him, or are you going to go? Who you got? Janov Augers in there. This is a tough group for you. Janov Augers, Malin Bayer Johnson. I know how much you love the girl power. And Kim MN. That's who I've gone for.
Yeah, this is tough now for me. And it's made even tougher by the fact that Mikey Pender and Calais won the Grand Prix on Friday, and they were so incredible. But I'm not sure. My gut is telling me to change, and H&M Indiana jumped a good round in the Grand Prix as well. They had one fence down, I believe. And they're such a power couple. But then I would have picked 3 Swedish because I have Henrik von Eckermann and I did pick Peter Fredriksson. So is that... But then again, I did say I think they're going to win, so it would make sense.
Yeah. Well, if I took out Henrik and King Edward just because they're so popular, and you want to kind of be different and maybe get an edge just in case they have a rail, I think I would go for Lars Kirsten and Funky Fred, and that would actually give me 3 Dutch riders. So if I go back and I refresh that window, this would look quite cool. I'd have 3 Dutch, 2 Germans, really taking on the Swedish.
But you still think that the Swedes are going to win. That's what you said on Thursday.
I know this. So this is all tactics. Star Chaser is all about.
So you can win on every. Okay.
Yeah. But I agree with you. I don't think sometimes the temptation with Star Chaser is to try and be too clever, and I've fallen into that trap a couple of times. I think if I were to put Funky Fred ahead of King Edward, I think that just feels like falling into the trap of trying to be too clever. I think try and get your couple of stars on the board, and then maybe go against there's plenty of other places to go against the crowd. I looked at the course plan. The triple combination comes on fence 10 in the course. It's quite late, and kind of just an open approach to it. Vertical in the middle. It looks like Oxer, 2 strides vertical, 1 stride Oxer, and that middle vertical. I think that's where I'm with United Touch. That's where I'm going to be. Squeaky bum time.
He had another 1 fence down, another 4 penalties on Friday, Sam.
Yeah, I'm not getting off the train though. I'll be so. This is what we call a cliff horse. You just keep jumping off the cliff. Keep going off the cliff. So there we go. Any other big dilemmas for you? That's in. I'll get that Mikey Pender. But yeah, anyone watching this, Mark McCauley is going to switch to Mikey Pender. I think that's really interesting. What do you think of that decision? Because he won the Grand Prix on Friday. We still haven't done our bit of research and a bit of data science behind the performance on a Friday, which is usually the way around. Normally it's Nations Cup on Friday and Grand Prix on Sunday if we're at a normal Nations Cup. Obviously here in Barcelona it was Grand Prix Friday, Nations Cup Sunday. Must have been a fast jump off because King Edward was there. I didn't actually see it, but I imagine
it was incredible actually, and the margins were tiny, except for Calais was so fast. I think where Calais wins a lot is that he doesn't spend too much time in the air, where King Edward does lose a lot. But I do have to say that King Edward didn't go as he didn't do a last line forward to the last like he did in Sertogenbos, for example. He kept it quite sane, and I think he had today in mind while he was jumping that jump off. So it was solid, and especially when you're coming back from, you know, what happened at the Olympics, you do just want to maybe play it safe and have a nice double clear instead of trying to win this. And then with the team in mind on the Sunday. But yes, it was a very, very fast jump off, and I do wonder if maybe Lady Amaro for Mark Macaulay wasn't feeling as fit, and Mikey Pender and HHS Calais clearly are. So, you know, it does make sense in a way that they come in today.
Yeah, I actually don't have them on the. I was gonna pull up Mikey Pender's stats here because I don't have them on the. But they're not in the game at the moment, so I'll have to put them in. Anyone, by the way, who hasn't put their team in, if you're watching this, it is play.echoratings.com. That brings you to this site, and then you're in, and you can select your team. But the view I wanted to bring up here, these horses are sorted by the ELO rating, but the career clear rate of King Edward is 64%. Beauville on 56%, and then you're down into, and like this is where United touch. It's a bit of a reminder. He's still only 15 clears from 36 rounds at 5-star 160. It's a 42% strike rate. It's obviously very good. He's a very good horse. It's above average, but it's not above 50%, which the likes of Indiana have. This is career clear rate. And it's a reminder that Indiana down a little bit lower on the ELO right now, because the ELO is tracking current form as well as what they've done in their career. So her rating has her a little bit lower down there at 7th equal with Catch Me Not, but her career clear rate is 57%, which is just a good reminder. Has jumped, like of any active horse in the world currently, this horse has jumped the most 5-star 160 clears. She's on 65. King Edward on 62. That's probably now 63 actually following Friday. Double clear here, and he could equal Indiana, but hopefully Indiana adds that as well. So definitely some kind of history, some massive big hitters here. Swedes out in force. Germany look really strong. Netherlands look really strong. There's no doubt that they've all got their A teams. And then plenty of the teams in behind are still giving it a go, like Donatello Dodge, Legacy. Fancy there could gain actually for Cian O'Connor. You have to go down a little bit on ratings, but 8, much smaller sample size, 8 clears from 11, but a 73% career clear rate, 5-star 160. I don't expect that to maintain for a long period of time, but it does show. And Cian's obviously been quite careful with how, you know, introducing the horse to top level, but it's been masterful. Like his execution has been brilliant. So they're still the jokers, I think. Or the joker in the pack, the Irish. You could still see them turning up and getting on this podium here, but that especially is your little run through. Yeah, after Friday, yeah, they are. They're looking good, and I think it's the advantage as well of having such depth in the squad. Like I think even a month ago, I don't think anyone would have called Calais being in the Barcelona team, but the horse comes into form, performs really well out in Calgary, performs really well at the beginning of the week in Barcelona, and you have that strength and depth to be able to make those calls and bring in someone who's obviously clearly on form.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. Here, let me change it. I can't stay. I'm going back to King Edward. I can't do it. Teams are locked in.
I went with my pick of Malin Bayer Johnson. So I have 3 Swedes actually in my Star Chaser team. 3 Swedes, a US rider, and a Dutch rider. Harry Smulders and Jurek Kass, I picked.
So we're really different. We both have King Edward, and aside from that, we have 4 different ones.
Yes, exactly. Interesting. I am historically pretty bad at this game. I'm going to put my hands up right now. But I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling confident in my team right now.
Yeah, I like that we're so diverse. In Spruce Meadows in Calgary, there were a lot of common teams. There was quite an obvious standout star in each group. Here is a little bit more, aside from group 2, I think, where Henrik is clearly that's a little bit as well why he's so dominant, is it's a slightly weaker group. And then there's some bigger decisions to make in the other groups. That is great. I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait. It kicks off in 20 minutes. So
yeah,
thanks for joining. Enjoy, everybody. And we'll be reviewing it on Creating's Jumping podcast. And any insights, any kind of interesting, newsworthy stories will be in that WhatsApp channel as well. And I'm sure we will have links to that wherever Charlotte puts those links. They're all over the place.
I'll put those links on social media.
Thanks, folks. Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you, guys.
See you,
thank you, Sam.
Bye-bye.